Hi, I'm Thurman Thomas, and coming up next, one-on-one.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the fastest half hour in television. We'll be visiting, as you know, with a great running back for the Buffalo Bills, the most durable running back in the National Football League, Thurman Thomas, right after we come back from these messages. Stay with us. Welcome back, everybody. You're visiting with Thurman Thomas of the Buffalo Bills. And Thurman, I got to ask you right off the bat, how can you stay hungry? You guys have been to the big dance 3 years in a row. Certainly you haven't won it, but how do you stay hungry? Is it just because you haven't won it?
Well, I think that's really the main thing. We haven't won it. We want to win it so bad that we always go out and we always say to ourselves, hey, you know, the last couple of years we haven't won it. Let's try and get it right this year, this following year. So we've always had that hunger inside of us, and we always wanted to prove to the world that, hey, we are a good football team and we deserve a Super Bowl ring.
Now, you're talking about proving to the world. You got to prove to the National Football League again, because they're all after you. I mean, they're after the Buffalo Bills. Let's face it. They get past you, they have a chance to get to the big dance.
Well, you know, over the last couple of years, that's been the stance. When we've played well and we've got home field advantage, we've been the team to beat. And if we can do that again this year, the same thing is going to happen. You know, we're going to be down at Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami. So everybody, all of my teammates know that, hey, everybody's going to be shooting for us, whether they're 0-8 or 1-8 or 1-9 or whatever their record is. If they go out and they beat the Buffalo Bills, that's going to make their season.
I have watched Thurman Thomas run the football, catch the football since Oklahoma State. I know that when Thurman Thomas puts a lot of pressure on himself, sometimes he carries a loss home with him. You still do that?
Yeah, I still do that. No matter what, I've always been like that since I was in junior high, high school, college, and the pros. I put a lot of pressure on myself because, you know, I'm a strong individual. I can deal with things when things go bad. I've always been like that. That's why I put a lot of pressure on myself, because I'm not going to worry about what somebody says. Well, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. I'm going to go out, I'm going to try to do it. I'm going to try to be the one that turns the game around. I'm going to try to be the one that's going to be the best player on the field. And when you put that on yourself, sometimes it backfires on you, but 9 times out of 10, you know, you're going to be the key to the game.
We know how confident you are. We can see that in your running. We can see that in your facial expression. But have you ever got up in the morning and looked in the mirror and said, Thurman, I'm proud of you. This is as good as you can be? Has there come a time when you've done that?
No,
or you're still working hard?
I'm still working hard. You know, I don't think in my profession and being the type of person I am, I'm going to be satisfied with whatever I do. Every day when I go to practice, I try to do something better, whether it's, you know, catch 5 balls on Monday. Well, Tuesday I'll try to catch 10 balls. I'll try to get myself more involved in the offense, and, you know, I want to go out and get better, because I know as soon as, you know, Marvin Levy or Ralph Wilson see that, hey, Thurman is not practicing like he used to practice. He must be getting a little tired, must be getting a little old. So I won't even want them to even think that way. I want them to say, this guy here is not slowing down. He's trying to get better and better every day.
You said something there about the age factor, because we're all getting older, obviously. So what you're telling me is Thurman Thomas is not even considering the thought of getting to the final destination and turning in his cleats.
Oh, no. I think, you know, my contract runs through the 1996 season.
Woo.
And I'm going to be ready just as if I was in 1990. You know, that's how I prepare myself. That's how I work out during the off season. So sure, I wasn't the fastest person in the world when I first got here, and I'm still not. So I don't think my speed is going to go down or anything like that. I keep my body in great shape. So you know, when I reach that point in my last year, which I'll be 30 years old, hopefully I can still perform when I was like 25.
Put you on the spot. You've been here all of your career in the NFL thus far with the Buffalo Bills. Is this where you would like to end your career if you had your say-so?
Oh, definitely. I would love to end my career here, because this is a team that took a chance on me when I was coming out of Oklahoma State in 1988, which a lot of teams said, well, he has a bad knee. Well, this is a team that took a chance on me, and the only way that I wouldn't play here if I was to get traded, but if it was to better the Buffalo Bills, and not just to get rid of me just because I was getting old or slowing down or whatever. If it was to better the Buffalo Bills, to get another quarterback or running back or offensive lineman or whatever, to where they can continue to be a successful football team, I wouldn't mind that.
I remember in 1993, before the Super Bowl, you said something to the effect that this team finally is ready for the big dance. Okay, we've got it all together, offensively, defensively, etc. Now, in 1994, you've started a little slow, mainly because everybody's got their adrenaline up for the Buffalo Bills. Let's face it, you get up for the best. How do you compare this team?
Well, I think this team is a little bit quicker, especially defensive-wise, and kind of on the offensive side, too. We got some young receivers that have came in here and had an excellent camp. Our defensive backs are more stronger, more aggressive. Like I say, you know, we haven't lost really anybody except our 2 tackles in the last 2 years, Howard Ballard and Will Wolford. But the one thing about this organization is that they've had great players that stepped in that have replaced great players.
You know, for 3 years, you guys excelled at getting up for the big game. You lose to Miami here, and then you go to Miami and you beat them there. How do you continue? I know you say you're hungry, but how do you continue to stay hungry when you know that everybody is sniping at you?
Well, we look at every team that we lose to. When the Buffalo Bills, this is our motto around here. When we lose bad. I mean, there's no way that we can have a chance to win the ball game.
There's no halfway.
There's no halfway. I mean, we just do everything wrong on offense, defense, and special teams. So we know come that following week, we have to bounce back, or against that following team, we know that we have to play better, and we got to do it for 60 minutes. You know, the first week we came out here, offense, the defense, the special team looked great against the Jets on the first drive. And after that, it was just all downhill. So now we know what it takes. You know, we just had a little lackluster performance, but everything's worked out for us now. The
fans are also aware that you can play well together on the field, but you also have to be a good group of guys, together group of guys off the field, going out occasionally together, whatever. Is this a close-knit family? Definitely. You know, after every home game, even when we lost to Jets the first week of the season, you know, we had like 30 or 40 players over Jim Kelly's house. You know, that's how close we are. You know, we always are meeting each other somewhere. If we want to go out to dinner, you know, we invite our families or whatever. And you know, we got this deal on our team called the Friday Club, where we meet at this certain little spot, and there'll be about 25, 30 players there every Friday for the last 3 years. So this is a close football team, whether anybody knows it or not, because you know, you don't really look. You look at the players close on the field, but really off the field, I think that's when it really counts. Who organized? Tell me now, who organized the Friday Club? Was it you or was it Jim? Actually, it was neither one of us. It was a quarterback we used to have here named Gail Gilbert. Him and Shane Collin. They organized it. At first, it was just them two. Then it started off with me, Nate Odoms, and Cornelius, Darryl Talley, and Bruce. And so, you know, this year, you know, the first time we had it, we had about at least almost 40 guys there. All Buffalo Bills. All Buffalo Bills, nobody else. Thurman Thomas, stay where you are. We're going to come back and visit with the great running back with the Buffalo Bills right after we pause for these messages, and we'll be back in just a moment. Stay with us.
For years, you've been fed the same old line, that there are only 2 great-tasting colas to choose from.
Hook up! Fish on! Fish on!
Hey, you don't have to swallow that. Drink RC and you'll look at colas in a whole new way.
Panasonic presents a unique and highly evolved smooth operator. The Smooth Operator 2 with float control is the only razor to unite the comfort of twin independent floating heads with the closeness of a warm, wet shave. Don't try this with any plugged-in razor. The Smooth Operator Wet Dry Razors from Panasonic. Smoother than you ever thought you'd be.
Where in the world would you go if there were no Las Vegas? What other place will you ever find where you can spend the entire day teeing off, stepping out, or just winding down? And all night really living it up? Only in Las Vegas.
Peter Barnes can't wait to shake his cold. Pills take time to dissolve, so he'll rush relief with the effervescent power of Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine. It's ready the moment you take it, rushing powerful medicines to soothe your aches, relieve your runny nose, free your breathing. Nothing rushes relief like Alka-Seltzer Plus.
Welcome back, everybody. The fastest half hour in television is underway with Thurman Thomas of the Buffalo Bills. And Thurman, do you get a chance to talk to the youngsters, the new guys on the team before the season begins? I've talked to people like Jerry Rice who have said that they've taken them aside, the guys who have made the team, and they've talked in the off season and talked about team spirit. Randall Cunningham has said the same thing. What about you?
Oh, I definitely do that. I think it's very important that you do talk to some of the younger guys to let them know, hey, this is a good football team. When we're out there on the football field, we're all business, and when we're out off the football field, we're pretty much still all business. And if you want to be a Buffalo Bill, this is some of the things that you have to live with. Sure, it's going to be some bad things said about us about losing the last couple of Super Bowls, but you got to be able to deal with that. You got to be able to deal with that as a man. And I pulled Jeff Burris, our #1 draft pick from Notre Dame, aside and told him that. And I told Thomas Smith, who was taking our All-Pro corner spot, Nate Odom's spot. So those two are the guys that I really enjoy talking to and letting them know what all it is to be a Buffalo Bill.
Well, you know, some of the guys, when they're young, it's like Waters for 49ers. As you know, he was very hyper his first year,
Right.
and he's learned how to kind of bring it down a little bit. The guys that you have on the team who have been maybe a little hyper because they wanted to prove themselves early, they wanted to impress the fans early, have you kind of gone over and asked them to kind of cornerstone some of that excitement and just keep it on the field?
Well, you know, actually, ever since I've been here, we've never really had a football player like that.
Is that right?
And I don't think, you know, we're not the type of team that's going to go out and draft somebody like that. You know, they want the type of players that are going to stay focused, that don't do all the dances and all that stuff. You know, we want a Buffalo Bill that's going to go out and perform on the field, and then after that, you know, then you talk to the media and they tell you how great you played or whatever. But that's not the type of attitude that we have here.
When you finish a play, have you gone back to the huddle and said, Jim, I got a spot over here. Give me the football. Have you done that?
Oh, yeah, I've always said to Jim a lot of times, hey, Jim, you throwing the ball too much. Can I get a running play in here? You know, I always talk to him like that. You know, me and Jim has had a real good friendship ever since I've been here. And, you know, I'm pretty much like a quarterback. I study film just like Jim do because I'm back there. I see what he sees. And it's like almost having an extra quarterback back there. My coach have told me that, Elijah Pitts. And, you know, Jim, you know, you got to let Jim get into a rhythm. You know, it really doesn't start. I really don't start telling him stuff until like maybe the third or fourth quarter. You know, but the first or second quarter, I let him go through his flow, let him get into the rhythm, and let the entire offense get into the rhythm. So, but once, you know, sometimes you tend to know when that fourth quarter comes around, you want to at least carry that ball 10 or 15 times. And I'll nudge him. I say, hey, but I only carried it one time this quarter. They have a little bit more.
So you want the football. You're not concerned with the injury thing.
No, I want the football. You know, coming out of the Big 8, you know, I used to carry it about 35, 40 times a game. And, you know, it's a little bit, it's different being in the pros, but, you know, I want the football at all times. You know, I think one of the things that I have avoided was that I haven't taken a big hit, you know, that would knock me out of 2 or 3 ball games throughout the year. I've been able to avoid the big hit, and I think that's where my durability comes in.
Are you a student of the game?
I've become a student of the game, yeah. As I get older, I started watching more film. I started talking to my coaches a lot more about, you know, what I think can do to help this ball club get past this certain team, or when they run this defense, you know, what play I think should work. And, you know, sometimes they listen to me, sometimes they don't. But, you know, I've always, the last couple of years, been able to have my input in this offense.
You know, it's a funny thing. I've talked to a lot of athletes over the last 25 years of my career, and a lot of them indicate to me, hey, this is a tough game, but I don't ever get tired of it. I enjoy it. I love this game. Certainly I'm going to get hurt. I know I'm going to get hurt. I'm going to ache the next morning, but I really enjoy this game. What is there about this game that turns you on? Is it the practice sessions, or is it the kickoff when you're introduced right here and come down through the tunnel?
I think it's more the kickoff and we're introduced coming out of the tunnel. You know, You know, when I first got in the National Football League, I didn't know nothing about, you know, getting introduced to all the offense, all the defense, all the special teams. That's probably one of the most exciting things that I can think of since I've been playing for 7 years, that when they announce you on that speaker and you run out, either the crowd is cheering for you or they're booing you. And most of the time, all the time, was just here in Rich Stadium, you know, they're cheering you. So it's something that I'm going to remember for a long time.
I know you remembered when you were a rookie what it felt like the first time you were announced in that starting lineup. But today, do you take it for granted now?
I still take it as being my rookie year, you know, going out in the crowd, still cheering for me, whether they're booing me or whatever. You know, I still take a lot of pride in that. And like I said, whenever it comes to my last football game in the National Football League, I want to make sure that I'm introduced.
Now, you're one of the most durable backs in the National Football League. There can't be a lot of booing, but do you read your press clippings? Do you read the newspaper? Do you listen to the radio?
Oh, all the time. You know, sometimes when people say stuff, it kind of motivates me to go out and play well, to prove them wrong. You know, my mom and my dad tell me I shouldn't do it, but you know, I listen to all the talk shows, the radio shows, television shows, read all the newspapers, USA Today, Sport News, you know, what have you. I have all those stuff coming to my house, and I just get enjoyment from listening to, from really a fan standpoint of how they feel about different things, to see if they know the knowledge of the game, like some of the players have. And you'd be surprised, some of the people that call in on the shows that know a lot about football that might not have never played it, but you can sit there and watch it for so long, they know the game.
Who's the toughest team against Thurman Thomas? Who's been toughest on you?
Well, I would probably have to say the New England Patriots.
Why?
For some reason, you know, they've always been a tough team, especially against me. Every year that I play those guys, after every game we play, I am so sore. It's unbelievable. You know, they got a great coach in Bill Parcells. Even when he wasn't there, the games were always close between us. And after every game, I would always come out of that game, particular game, the sorest I've ever been throughout the entire season.
That's got to be enough adrenaline to motivate you as well during the course of a year, knowing that, hey, I'm going to play these guys at least once, maybe twice, and they're so tough on me, I've got to prove that I can be tough on them.
Yeah, you know, when they're hitting you around and knocking you around, you got to be able to say, hey, you know, they're hitting you pretty hard, but you got to make them look at you and say, no, we gave him our best shot, but he's still getting up and he's still running that ball just as hard as he was in the first quarter as he was in the fourth quarter. And when you can do that and you look at those guys, and you might say, well, we did all we can do. You know, I think the guy got us today.
We'll come back for a final comment with Thurman Thomas right after we pause for these messages. Don't go away. Welcome back, everybody. The final segment of the fastest half hour in television, and it's moving fast because Thurman Thomas has the things to say that I think that all of us are enjoying. And I got to ask you one question. Even though you're not the quarterback, and I asked this of one other quarterback, I did it earlier today. How can you look at that 25-second clock and let time run out? No one is sitting there right there staring you in the face. How do you do that? How does that happen?
I don't know how it happens. Sometimes guys line up wrong. You know I've been in a couple of games in my career where I haven't lined up in the right place and 25-second clock has ran out, but you're sitting there watching it, you just don't know where to go. You just, you know, I think you get caught up in the excitement of the game so much that you realize that you don't realize that you do have a 25-second clock. You know, you want to get a big run, you want to walk back to the huddle and get some rest or whatever, and by the time you know it, it's counting down 3, 2, 1, and there comes the yellow flag.
You know, earlier in the show, we talked about motivation and your spiritual background. Is that the thing that really motivates you now to keep you going, is a spiritual background?
Yes, it is. You know, I know without the Lord, Jesus Christ helping me right now, that none of this stuff that I would be doing would be possible. I know he's the reason why I'm out here scoring touchdowns, catching passes, making the type of money that I'm making. Because without him, you know, I don't know what I'd be doing right now. I know I'd be living a good life, but this is the life that he chose for me, and this is the life that I'm taking advantage of. And I'm glad he's given me the opportunity to come out and do the things that I've been able to do on the football field and off the field. I got 2 lovely daughters
That's motivation.
That's motivation for me. You know, I want to raise them real well, raise them into an environment where, you know, they're going to be taken care of for the rest of their lives and not really struggle like the way I came up.
There was a great football player, he happened to be a field goal kicker, and I asked him after a playoff game in the locker room, he shall remain nameless, but he had a disease, cancer, and I asked him once if he was looking forward to getting to the playoffs. And he said to me, he says, Eddie, I'm not even worried about the final destination. I'm enjoying this journey. What about you?
Well, I'm definitely enjoying this journey. Like I said, I'm not really looking, whoever the kicker was, he's right. You know, I'm not really looking forward to the final destination. I'm enjoying this journey as long as I possibly can. And however long that's going to be, I don't know. But right now, you know, I'm living it one day at a time, and I think that's the way you should do it.
Any doubts in yourself and in the team?
No, no doubts. None whatsoever, not within myself and not within the team or organization, Mr. Ralph Wilson, or the city of Buffalo.
What's your biggest asset? Is it your strength?
I think it's really my strength. You know, I've always tell people, well, you know, I don't really lift a lot of weights, you know. But
I heard that, yeah.
Yeah, I do lift on the two most important things that's going to keep me here in the National Football League, and those my left leg and my right leg. You know, that's how I score the touchdown. That's how I make the yards that I gain. But I think the one thing that a lot of people don't see about me is that I got a big heart. You know, I'm willing to stick it in there no matter what happened, no matter what the situation is. You know, like I said, I've been in the league for 7 years, and I've only missed one game. And
that's durability.
That's durability, and I got a big heart. You know, and you know, I want to win. I want to win for my teammates.
What's Thurman Thomas like on game day? What do you like on game day?
I'm crazy on game day. You know, I'm excited. The adrenaline's always flowing. You know, I'm in there giving high fives to my teammates, you know, trying to get their pump. Some of the guys, you know, like to sit back and be kind of laid back and not really say too much, but me, Bruce Smith, sometimes Cornelius Bennett and Darryl Talley, you know, we're pretty excited in the locker room, and I got it from my old roommate when he was here, Leonard Smith. He was a free safety.
Right.
He used to be like that, and it just kind of carried over to me. So I'm kind of going around the locker room, giving everybody high fives, telling them what they need to do, talking to Mr. Wilson, our owner, and you know, I'm just being a hype person and ready to go out there and play the game.
Has there ever been a big game where Thurman Thomas was a bit nervous at the start?
Not really. I never really put myself in a position where I am nervous, you know, because I put that pressure on me that I want to do well. So when you do that, it's no nervousness about you. You just forget about all that.
If you were able to look into that camera right now and talk to the young folks out there, male and female, the aspiring athletes who are big fans of Thurman Thomas, and there are hundreds of thousands and millions, what would you say to them right now?
Well, I would say to them, make sure you get your education, stay away from drugs, and for me, there's always life after football, and that's going to be the toughest task that I'm going to have to live throughout my life, is being with life after football. So always have a secondary goal. You know, you might not reach your first goal. You know, my first goal was to be a baseball player. It didn't turn out that way. And then I turned to be a football player. Right now, I'm like 12 hours away from my degree at Oklahoma State. And so in hotel and restaurant management. So, you know, life after football was going to lead me back to get my degree, and you know, just keep your dreams high and just keep fighting for them.
So what you're saying is Thurman Thomas does not take himself too seriously.
No, I don't. You know, I try to be as happy. You know, I love. One thing that people say about me is that this guy loves people, whether they're old, young, or whatever. I love people, and especially love kids. And you know, I've given a lot of back to my community in Houston, Oklahoma State, and here in the Buffalo area. And my mom says, as long as you keep doing that, you're going to live a lovely life. And so far, 28 years old, and I'm having the time of my life.
Thurman Thomas, thanks for visiting with us.
All right, thank you.
One of the most durable running backs in all the National Football League, if not the most durable, Thurman Thomas of the Buffalo Bills. And we will be talking with you again next week with your favorite athlete, right here with the fastest half hour on television. Remember, it's here every week, one-on-one.